Mr. Assis, Mr. MAchado de Assis, it is well known that you are the holder of a deep knowledge of the reasons that drive people to behave the way they do. I would like to ask you a question, but before I do, I must tell you a story. Then you can truly understand the nature of my inquiry. This is a story of two people and what keeps them apart. This is the story of Candy. Candy was a poor man. One day he fell in love with Clara, and though they didn't have much to eat, they could feed their dreams with the happiness they shared for being together. Soon, one of these dreams came true. This is also the story of Arminda, who was a slave. In this time, people could be other people's property. Many of them didn't want to be property, but were forced to. Still today, if goods don't work properly, they can be fixed. At the time, some goods were fixed by being beaten. Not every piece of property then enjoyed being beaten. Arminda's child didn't deserve to be fixed. It wasn't even born yet, far too early to be blamed for any mistakes. So she ran. A generous reward was offered for her recapture. It happened that Candy was a very talented and feared slave hunter. Though he didn't see any virtue in his talent, he had no other skills. When his son was born, Candy was going through hard times, since he had no job, no money, no house, no slaves to hunt, and no hope. To keep his newborn son out of misery, he and Clara painfully decided to put the child in the rejection wheel. This was a spinning wheel that used to be in orphanage walls. Without any bureaucracy, anyone could put their babies in the wheel, and when they turned it around, their baby was the orphanage responsibility from then on. The parents would never see that child again, except in their most bitter dreams. It was Candy's duty to take his son to the wheel. As he walked to the orphanage, his heart jumped out of his chest as he recognized Arminda. This was his chance to keep his son. He left his baby in a pharmacy nearby, and the hunt started. Arminda didn't quite know what hit her, and when she realized what was happening, she was already tired. First she begged, but Candy wouldn't hear it. Then she fought, but her will was stronger than her body, and soon she was back in her owner's house. She tried one last effort, but it was too much. She screamed for gods and despaired. Blood was spilled from her. But not just blood. Something came along with it. It was something small, black and quiet, whose only movement in this life was a brief hand movement, a silent appeal for its life. Candy took the money, took his son from the pharmacy, and headed home. Clara was surprised and amazed when Candy returned with their baby and a good amount of money. Then he held his son high and said, "Thank God some children bloom. Thank God some children bloom." So, Mr. MAchado de Assis, this is the question I wanted to ask. Why only some children bloom?